Genetics. Embark on a cross-continental journey with Jay Blaze on the next episode of Organically Blunt. We're delving into the artistry of Khalifa genetics, from the rolling hills of Ireland to the vineyards of France and the sun-soaked fields of Spain. Discover the rich tapestry of passion and dedication woven into these strains. Join us for a global odyssey as we check out the rare Landrace varieties where excellence knows no borders. Secure your seat as we explore the cannabis culture seamlessly blended across Ireland, France, and Spain. Organically Blunt Show, a podcast that's about cannabis and the lifestyle that surrounds it, with real conversations, whether you're a novice or a professional grower. Light up and join the conversation. Let's get organically blunt. Comes to genetics, we trust Seedsman Genetics, a seed bank that has been in business for over 20 years. So head on over to Seedsman and use coupon code Organically Blunt. Popping jars, cure, store, and save your terps with TerpLock technology. Grow bags, your solution for auto curing and cannabis storage, along with customized design solutions. Make sure to use coupon code Organically Blunt at checkout. As the soil and amendments, we trust Country Roots because we like to know what we're putting in our body is organic and it is the best that can be made locally. So head on over to countryroots.com and tell them Organically Blunt sent you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Organically Blunt. I have Aladdin here from Khalifa Genetics this morning. His audio is a little choppy, so you guys are going to have to bear with us. And this is a rescheduled show, but we're here. We made it. So let's congratulate ourselves and let's dive right into the story of Khalifa Genetics. So we hope you guys are warm, keeping it fly, and got something to smoke on. Here we go. So Aladdin, welcome to the show. I'd like to start out by letting everybody know where you're residing at in the world today. Where are you checking in from?
All right. So we're in Ireland right now, and thank you very much, Jay, for having me on. I hope that everybody's doing great, and we're ready to start.
Awesome. Like I said, everybody, if you can't hear, I apologize. This is the best we could produce, so we're going to go slow. So how long have you been doing cannabis breeding for?
All right, so by breeding, do you mean making seeds or actually breeding, stabilizing lines and looking for special phenotypes and trying to lock in certain traits?
Okay. Yeah, it's very hard to hear you. I do apologize. So I'm trying to keep it very, very short here. Yeah. But
I've been growing.
Go ahead.
I've been growing for over 16 years, 16, 17 years, and breeding for about 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah, about 6 years. I was making seeds before, pollen chucking like we all started, and doing it just for fun, trying to cross different phenols and different plants just for fun. But I started breeding seriously about 6 years ago.
Okay. All right. So you started breeding about 6 years ago. Now,
that's correct.
You do a lot of landrace genetics and varieties. Where are you coming across some of these great land races? Are you, because you got to get an initial cut to get started or something. So for the people who don't know out there, who are, such as myself, that don't have a lot of knowledge on breeding, how do you secure something like that? Like, is it a lot of searching? Is it somebody has to know somebody? I mean, where are you getting these to get started at?
All right, that's a great question. We've been able to travel to certain countries and hunt over there for the land races, ask the old farmers to give us some seeds, but for the main part, it's a lot of networking. It takes a lot of networking. You have to know people that live in those countries where they have ancestral cultivars, and you have to talk to the right people, and you also have to know what the local strains are supposed to be like, because there's more and more pollen contamination, and even in very remote, countries like Pakistan or India, there's already a lot of foreign genetics being grown over there. So it takes a lot of networking, and you also need to know what to look for as well. And it's not a cut. It's usually not a clone. What you need is a lot of seeds. You need to get some seeds, because if you want to preserve the cultivar, if you want to be able to either pheno hunt or do a preservation run on them, you have to have a lot of plants so you can have that genetic diversity. That way you don't lose, the genetic diversity when you do a reproduction run, because you're going to want to include a lot of males and a lot of females, and you're going to want to work with a lot of different individuals, a lot of different plants to keep it alive.
Definitely. So when was the first time you came across cannabis yourself, though? Like trying it, and kind of where did you find it at? Did a friend have it? Did an uncle have it? Did you steal your parents' joint? I mean, everybody has a story on where they got it the first time, and we kind of want to hear about that as well.
All right. Yeah, that's a little bit weird, but I was actually growing tomatoes and basil and a lot of different plants before I was growing cannabis. And my grandma, she taught me how to grow plants when I was like 3 or 4. I was doing it with her. Then I had my little greenhouse in the garden, and I would do it, year after year. I had a little plot of land, like a tiny little plot of land and garden, and I would do it myself. And when I was in high school, I would hear people talk about cannabis, and because I love plants, I just wanted to try it out to see how it was like. So I wanted to just give it a try. But at first, I was way more into it from a grower's perspective than a smoker's perspective. I was like into the plants way more than into the smoke itself. So I started asking around. I was in high school. I started asking my classmates who I could score some seeds, and they all told me, "Why don't you just buy some flowers or buy some hats? Why do you want seeds? Why do you want to make things more complicated?" And I was like, "No, I'm fascinated by the plant, and I want to grow it out and learn." So I was able to find some seeds when I was in high school, and I started growing then.
Definitely. So you are on a lot of different continents, as we would call it, or locations. You're across three different countries, shall I say? That that is huge. Not only is that huge, but what has been some of the hard issues you had to deal with being across so many different continents? I mean, I'm sure there's been a few issues that you've had to deal with off the top of your head that you can think of, that you're glad you got through it, but at the same time, you kind of like, man, that really made us who we are. Like, what have been some of the hardships you've had to deal with being, I guess you'd say, tri-continental?
Yeah, so fortunately, Ireland, France, and Spain are all part of the European Union. They're part of Europe. So it's legal to ship seeds across those different countries. It's totally legal, But there's different laws according to the country you live in. It varies from country to country. Even within the EU, it's completely different. Some countries have already legalized it, like Malta. Germany's about to do it. Some countries have decriminalized it, and in some countries like France, it's still super illegal. So it really depends on where you are.
Wow. Yeah, I heard about Germany going legal. We got, I guess it's not family, but it's considered family. My parents have always had what we call foreign exchange students growing
Mhm.
up. And every year we would have a student come to America from Germany and go to school here at our school. And so I know a few people that live over there. And yeah, I know alcohol was one thing, but now to get into the whole cannabis thing and go legal, man, that's going to open up a lot for them. And hopefully they can use it on a more of a health standard too, being that it'll replace a lot of pharmaceuticals, I'm hoping.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's countries like Spain that are very, very strange because over there it's allowed to grow for personal consumption. So if you have a few plants at home, you can do so as long as you're discreet about it. If it's not in plain sight, if it's in private spaces, you can do it no problem. As long as as long as it's in small quantities, if you just have a few plants, it's not a commercial grow. If it's a personal grow, then you can do it. Absolutely. However, they have no medical program, nothing for now. They're starting to talk about it. They might come up with something in the next few years. But for now, as of now, it's legal to do it for personal consumption. But it's just decriminalized. But then there's no medical program. There's nothing commercially available for people, for patients.
Wow. Yeah, we're fighting for our rights medically here because as medical
Yeah.
patients, the recreational market has flooded everything to where it's basically washed out the medical market. So a lot of us
Yeah.
medical patients are having to rally and advocate and go to the Capitol and stand up for our medical rights to grow it and everything else because here they just want to commercialize it to the point that it's like going to a store and you just purchase what they have available. You don't
Yeah.
grow it. They don't want you to have access to the seeds. That's what the big
Mhm.
I call it big farmer or metric as they call it here. That is what they're trying to do. Our state alone here
Yeah.
in Michigan, we lost 60,000 caregivers in 2 years. That's huge.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I understand what you're saying because I was in Seattle a few years ago, and it was super easy to find, to buy some flowers. Very, very easy to find some pot. But I was looking for seeds, and it was so hard. I went to just like a lot of different dispensaries, and they all told me that I could not buy seeds. That it was like very hard to get. So yeah,
yeah, definitely it is. But now it's kind of crazy how it works. If you go into some of the ones that are true cultivators that actually touch the plant, some of them do have seeds available. At least here where I'm at, but you know, not a lot. And all our grow supply stores are shutting down here because people are getting into what I'm starting to get into myself, and that's living soil and re-amending it to
yeah,
the point that you don't throw it out when it's done. So there's not as much
mhm,
waste, which is great. You're staying sustainable. But at the same time, these stores aren't getting the foot traffic of somebody coming in and buying a bag of soil every couple months anymore. So they're not getting the foot traffic through the door. So they're forced to close their businesses down. And it kind of sucks because it makes it hard for people that don't know how to, I call it cooking up your own recipe of soil, but a lot of people don't have that knowledge yet. So a lot of companies and growers such as yourself are trying to put that knowledge back into the people's hands so that they can continue to grow. And that relates me to another thing. So what has been your favorite strain to grow? Do you have one?
wow, that's a tough question. Um, because we work with land races, we've been able to grow so many different strains, and they're so different from one another. It's insane. So outdoors, I'm outdoors, I would say I like the Moroccan Beldia. It fascinates me because it's so early flowering, and yet it's not a little Rallis variety at all. It just adapted to a very hot and dry climate because in Morocco, the summer is extremely hot and dry, so the plants have to flower and make seeds before lacking water, before they run out of water. So they have to grow on all the spring rainfall, and they have to use that water, and they have to flower very very quickly, and then they make seeds in June or July. And by the end of July, beginning of August, at the latest, it's done. They've made their seeds, and they have that ability to flower automatically, but it's not an auto-flowering plant per se. Is like a semi-auto-flowering variety that can sense different kinds of stress, and mainly water stress. If it's starting to run out of water, it'll flower a lot faster. But also, if it's running out of space, if the roots start to run out of space, they'll also start flowering automatically. But it's not a fully, auto-flowering plant. So that's fascinating. And we've used that one for breeding, for making early flowering varieties. So that one is extremely interesting. But there's so many cultivars that we've enjoyed working with. The Lao, for instance, there's a Lao cultivar that was collected by Bodhi a long time ago, probably 15 years ago or so. He collected the seeds up in Lao, and we've grown that one, and we've worked with that one and preserved that cultivar. And the way it flowers is just like the Dr. Greenspoon's strain. It's extremely wispy. It's insane. The flower structure is just, it does not look like cannabis. It looks like some kind of cactus. I don't know. It's so weird. So there's so many plants that are very interesting to work with. And the mutant strains as well are awesome.
Wow. That's impressive. Definitely. That's basically what we're going to be doing this year. We call them fast versions. I know here, but I don't know if there's a different name over there. But most of ours are going to finish out in September instead of October for our outdoor season, because we get so much rain here, and it relates to bud rot and powdery mildew and all that fun stuff. And I don't want to deal with that this year. So I got a hold of, Seedsman and Atlas Seeds and other people that we represent here. And I said, hey, I want to grow something that's going to be done before the weather turns too bad, because I don't want to deal with that again this year. I lost 8 plants out of my 12 last year just to bud rot. And it's like, oh, no good. So do you grow specifically hydro, soil, indoor, outdoor, a little bit of everything, or?
So yeah, we do a little bit of indoor growing and outdoor growing as well. I'm not gonna lie, I used to use chemical fertilizers a long time ago, and then slowly, little by little, I found out about organic gardening. And now it's the only thing that we do. The whole team is just using organic cultivation methods. Whether it be outdoors or indoors, it's always organic now. And it's fascinating because it's actually, once you know how to do it and how to use those organic amendments, it's actually easier because, the soil can correct the pH automatically. The plants will not run out of water as fast because the soil life is able to save water and retain that water a lot longer. Yes, it's actually easier once you know how to do it properly. Though it takes a long time to learn at first, like you said before.
Definitely. So, I guess the biggest thing is what has been your most popular strain that people have wanted to grow from your lineup? And do you have anything new coming out in the near future?
Yeah. So far, there's like two different collections because we do preservation and we also do breeding. So there's the Landrace collection on one side, and on the other side, there's the Khalifa collection where we sell highly worked varieties. So true F1 strains or IBL strains, things that have been stabilized over many generations. As far as the Landraces, I would say that the Moroccan Beldia, the Moroccan Landrace, has been the most popular because people can grow it indoors and outdoors as well. It's extremely early flowering, and people like old school hash. And because some people in Morocco have been using that for many decades for making hash. And there's people that were able to smoke that Moroccan hash a long time ago, and that wouldn't be able to make their own hash using that cultivar. So for all those reasons, it's the most popular landrace we have. As far as the Khalifa strains, there's probably the Aladdin Kush because we spent many years working on it in order to make sure that the offspring would be very uniform, very homogeneous. So that one has encountered a lot of success. We've released it just a few months ago, but so far it's been the most popular. Now let's talk about the upcoming projects. There's Freak Show strain that we've worked on, but it's a great strain. It's very fun to work with, but a lot of growers have complained about the fact that the flavor was not there. That was a fun cultivar to grow because it's a mutant and it does not look like cannabis. It looks like a fern plant mostly. But they said that the aromas were lacking. And for that reason, we decided to improve that strain to make the aromas much better. So we outcrossed Berry Freak plant, which is a mutant plant, just like the Freak Show. We've outcrossed that variety with a black Kush cultivar. And because the black Kush is totally purple, very dark purple, and very turby as well, we wanted to use that one to try to make that Freak Show plant have much better terps, but also be purple towards the end of the flowering cycle. So that was an insane breeding project because the mutant strains have the traits that make the plants produce mutant leaves are highly recessive, which means that it's extremely hard to recombine those recessive traits when working with the offspring of those plants. So you have to outcross that with another plant, with another strain that's not a mutant. And if you want to be able to have a mutant plant again, you have to keep breeding. You have to make seeds. You make your F1 seeds, and they're not going to display any mutations whatsoever. They're going to be totally normal. But then among the F2 generation, then you might be able to recombine some of the traits that they were after. So it's a very slow process. And not only did we want to have a Freak Show looking plant, but we wanted that plant to have better terps and to be purple as well. So it took a lot of seeds to be able to find what we really wanted. We had to pop so many F2 seeds to be able to find the mutants, and then to be able to find the purple mutants that would produce much better terps. But we've been able to do it. We have the F4 generation now, so it's uniform enough to be sold. So we're about to start releasing the first Frosty's Purple Freak seeds, and we'll do so in about 4 weeks from now.
Okay. I did have a few questions in the chat that I wanted to touch on. I didn't want them to think we were ignoring them. And they were asking, is your Aladdin Kush available?
Yeah. So we have a hub in the United States, so it's available in the US. and it's also available in Europe as well. It's been available for the past 2 months.
Okay. All right. And the next question we had here is, do you have non-genetically modified cannabis cultivars?
We don't do GMOs. We do
Yep.
old school breeding, so
Yep.
it's not genetically modified.
There
It's
you
just
go, guys.
yeah, we select traits that we want, generation after generation. It's the old school way to breed.
Yep. Exactly. And I like it that way. I prefer it. I just, like I said, I was just answering some of their questions here and some of the things people are asking, and I wanted to touch on it and make sure we weren't ignoring the chat here at all. I, I know it's hard chat. We're trying to concentrate on what he's saying. You kind of got to listen a little closer, and I apologize for that. Like I said, we tried for some time before the show here to try to fix some issues. It's just the distance versus the speed. The speed isn't fast enough to push it to a clear distance as far as we are apart, and it slows down the kilobytes per second. We tried
Yeah,
everything
very,
here.
very sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to enunciate my words as much as possible, but it's hard when you don't have a good connection.
Right. Yeah, I understand totally. So I want to ask some questions before we get you off here. We've been here about a half hour. I usually go for an hour, so I got a few more questions I want to ask for you, and then we'll get you off here, and we'll let everybody know where they can secure this Aladdin Kush and all the other great land races at the end of the show here. But I want to dive into more about just you as a person, and that is, we already asked where you got the cannabis, but do you get the munchies when you do smoke? And if you do, what is one of your favorite go-to munchies?
Yeah, right. So it depends on the strain once again, because we work with sativas, and sometimes tropical sativas don't give you the munchies at all. But some of the strains that we have that are indica dominant or mostly organica, yeah, they do give me the munchies. And I'm not that much into sugar, but I love cheese. So yeah, cheese, European cheese, man, definitely.
Definitely. That is awesome. Awesome. So, and that puts me right into the final question that I typically ask everybody. And this is what makes Organically Blunt the Organically Blunt show. So, when I ask this question, we typically ask you not to think hard. I want the first thought that
Okay.
pops in your head. Literally, don't think. I want the first thought. So, if you could smoke with anybody dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I say Tommy John.
Tommy's
Yeah.
a great guy.
Why?
Yeah.
Because he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot, and he was into it way before we all were. He started like so much, like yeah, so long ago. I would love to know how it was before, and talk about how it's evolved over time, and how like the way people were viewing cannabis before, how it changed, and why, and what he did to make it happen. I would love to know more about that.
Yeah. I met Tommy last year at one of our events, and he came out, and I was walking through with my camera equipment, and he was getting on the golf cart. My friends have the facility there, and it's called Big Cloud Farms, and I met him, and the guy is a hoot. He's just as funny as he is in person as he is in his
Yeah,
videos. I mean,
that's
it was
awesome.
it was an honor. It really was. I met him, and I met Ed Rosenthal, and
Okay.
I met a bunch of them, pioneers of the industry, I guess you'd call it. And I
Yeah.
will say, it was a complete honor. I didn't get to smoke with them, but I got to meet them, and that was the closest I've ever got to anything on that level. But it was amazing. So you're literally the first guest to say that on this show. I would have figured
All
somebody.
right.
I figured some out of like 300 plus episodes, someone would definitely
Yeah.
say Tommy.
Yeah, for
But
sure, man. I didn't think about that. It was just the first, image that popped in my head, so I had to say it. So.
yep. And that's awesome because I've heard everything from Muhammad Ali. We get a lot of Jesus. We get a lot of Willie Nelson. We get a lot of Marley. We get a lot of Snoop Dogg. But to hear Tommy, that just makes me happy because, like, he is a pioneer. Let's not forget about him neither. So definitely,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And is there anything we should keep our eyes peeled on with you that's going to be coming up in the next couple months towards, I guess you'd say, the second quarter of the year as we get into summer or anything like that,
Yeah.
that we can expect from you?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about the strains that we're working on that we're going to release. I want to talk about a book that we've been working on for years, in which we talk about how to grow organically outside, outdoors in a guerrilla setting. So this is going to be a book about guerrilla growing. It's called The Secret Art of Guerrilla Gardening. The Secret
Okay.
Art of Guerrilla Growing. And yeah, we've been working on that for many years, and there's so many guerrilla grow tips in that book, and we share our experience, but we also share a lot of very fun stories and crazy things that happen to us while growing outdoors, in the wild. So yeah, that one.
I can totally relate to that. That's where I started at. I mean, I started out as a
Yeah.
then and just to touch on some tips, not to throw all my info out there, but we used to take mud boots. They're called mud boots or fishing boots, or they're like a wader, I guess you'd say, or we call them muck boots here. They're rubber boots, kind of like for rain or whatever, and we put them on. But before we'd go out to our grows, we'd cover the bottom with duct tape so that there was no pattern.
Man,
Yes, there was no pattern.
yeah,
Yeah, there was no pattern left. You knew what size the person's shoe was, but you didn't know what kind of shoe they were wearing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and, and then we got to a point at one time where we were actually taking, I don't know if you're familiar with hunting, but we were taking what they call tree stands that they use. They use to shoot bow and arrows at like deer and stuff. They put them up in the trees so they can hide from the animals. We were
Yeah.
taking them. We were taking them and we were putting plants on them.
Oh
And
wow.
we would take a sub pump and we would up water through a tube into the plant
Wow.
from
Damn.
the from the ground, and
Yeah.
nobody would look above you for plants. People think they grow on the ground, so it was working out pretty good. You had to have a lot of different things. I've seen a lot of different things, so I'm definitely. Is that book going to be available on Amazon?
Probably, probably. It's
Okay.
gonna be an actual book, but it's also gonna be an audio book as well, and probably an ebook. So yeah,
Awesome. I can't wait. You're going to have to keep me in the loop because I
yeah.
literally
And
thrive.
there's gonna be. We're not gonna put some actual pictures in it, but we're gonna put some comics. And the comics are going to summarize what we talk about and make it a lot more entertaining. So there's going to be a lot of info, but then there's going to be a few comics to illustrate what we talked about previously.
Man, I can't wait to see that. That's going to be awesome. And it's
Yeah.
unique in its own. So, I got a whole bookshelf next to me here of all my friends' books,
Wow.
and I collect them, and it's a big thing to me because it's so much knowledge that on different points. My first book was probably the Marijuana Bible from Jorge Cervantes, and that I still got it somewhere here, I think. But don't ever lend that book out if you have it, guys, because you won't get it
Oh,
back.
yeah.
I had to buy a second one because the person I loaned it to never gave me it back. And it had a lot of touch on the gorilla stuff, and I haven't seen a lot of books on that yet. So for you to come out with something like that, that is so cool for me because I grow gorilla outdoor. I grow on a farm, but I keep it so gorilla that there's no running water out there, and there's no electricity. It's on the back of a farm field, and I lease the land, and it's very gorilla like. You know, there's a stream there. That's where we get our water. There's no actual like running electrical water, no pumps, no nothing like that. So we run a irrigation sub pump that flows off the creek into a hose to water our plants. So we're watering them right with the exact water that's already in the ground, and it makes it great.
Nice.
Yeah. So
And
where? Go ahead.
would you ever run out of water there? Would you
No,
ever run out?
no. It's got a live stream there. A live stream that
Okay.
runs through the back of the property. That's the closest thing to the running water that we have. It's running water. It's just not electrically ran or pumped water. It's all natural, you know, fully off grid setup, you know, and it works great. Everybody wants you to come back, especially if you hit the States where you can have a good
Thank you, guys.
a good connection, you know. Now,
Yeah, absolutely.
are you going to be at Spanibus this year?
For sure.
Okay.
The rest of the team also will be there. So
All right.
there's going to be at least 3 or 4 people from the Khalifa team over there, including myself. So if you guys go to Barcelona, let me know so we can meet up.
Definitely. That is awesome. Yeah, I got a lot of friends that are going. I unfortunately don't have the budget for it this year. It's a pretty long flight. I think my buddy said
Yeah.
it was like 16 hours for him to fly over there. But it's worth it. But you'll probably be hanging around a lot of the guys I know. There's a guy that'll be going over there from Michigan called Mr. Fungi. There's going to be there's going to be another guy that he goes by the name of Judge Strains. He'll be over there. He's from Michigan. Fang, I'm sure you know who Fang is. If you don't, you can check him out. It's F, and then it's got a bunch of 4s, and then like NGGG. He's a breeder too, and he kind of like heads up the organics cup and Spanibus and all that. He's like one of the head creator guys for that. And I'm trying to think who else is going to be going over there that I know. I don't know, but like everybody's going. I'm kind of jealous because like I've never been out of the United States, so like.
Wow. Yeah, it's far.
Yeah.
Barcelona's probably 10, 11 hours away by plane, so it's a very long flight. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody asked if how things are over there because in 2020 you guys had lockdowns and stuff. Has it gotten better for you guys?
I was there. We were there during the lockdown, so it was not cool at all. And the first, after they started, celebrating Spanibus again, after they started doing it again, after all the lockdowns and all that, the first year it was not cool because you had to have a mask everywhere, and and there would be like a lot of people there being paid to just keep an eye on you and make sure that you're wearing your mask at all times and all that. But fortunately, last year it was not like that at all. It was much better and much freer, and that makes me think that this year is going to be just like last year, if not better. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Definitely. Awesome. So where can everybody find you at? And is there, other than Spanibus, is there any other events over on your side of the pond between now and then that they can find you at, or is that the next one you're going to be at?
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
Basically, I'm asking where everybody can find your genetics at and connect with you, and where they can connect with you, like what your Instagram is or anything like that. And
okay.
is Spanibus your next event? I know I asked 3 questions kind of in a row there.
But, all right. I was trying to remember everything. But yeah. So you can find us if you just type khalifagenetics.com. It's on the internet. It's on the web. khalifagenetics.com is the name of the website. And on there, there's a contact page, so they can definitely send us a message. It's very easy, and we'll always reply very quickly. There's a contact us page on that Khalifa Genetics website. And on the website, they'll also find all the social media platforms that we have. So we're using X/Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook as well.
Excellent. So you got it all covered, just like us, you know.
Yeah, you have to. It's so easy to lose your account on the Instagram, YouTube. It's so easy. So you gotta be very careful, and it's better to not put all your eggs in the same basket.
Yeah, definitely. I save a copy of our every episode onto an external hard drive.
Oh yeah, good.
Because if our YouTube ever goes down, I can just go back and re-upload them. Yeah, I'll probably have to create like all the thumbnails. Yeah, but in a new account. But I have all the content. So yeah.
Very good.
Well, with that being said, you know, I appreciate you coming on the show. Maybe here in the near future, we'll have a better connection as far as audio goes. You know, if you do go into one of those other countries that you operate into and the connection is more secure and better over there,
we'll try it.
Let's try again, because I would love to dig deeper into things, and so would the crowd. But you know, I just wanted to get you on here and kind of introduce you to our community and kind of let them get a chance to check out your genetics. So definitely, maybe what we can do in the near future, we can add you to our list of sponsors on the backside of our show on the outro, and we'll set up a coupon code if you're able to do that for the guests, so they can come check you guys out, you know. But with that being said, I appreciate you coming on the show. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for coming.
I wanted to tell you thank you very much. You know, I want to thank you for having me on. Mr. J. Blaze, thank you very much.
No problem. You have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for coming on the Organic.
Thank you too. Have a great one. Peace out.
Later. As we close this chapter of Organically Blunt, immense gratitude to our exceptional partners who fuel our growth journey. Seedsman Genetics, the seasoned seed bank with over 2 decades of experience. Grow Bag, your trusted storage solution to protect terps. Gorilla Grow Tent, crafting spaces for cultivating dreams. Kind LEDs, illuminating your green haven. Country Roots Soil and Amendments, nurturing roots for success. Atlas Seeds, a source of pure genetic treasures. Green Wolf Genetics, creators of botanic magic. Smoke and Stork Genetics, where passion meets potency. Humboldt Seed Company, committed to cultivating excellence. Extreme Gardening, elevating your gardening game. Rain Science Grow Bags, redefining plants' homes. 420 Fast Buds, pioneers of fast and furious growth. Captain Redbeard Seeds, sailing the seas of genetic innovation. Aero Mixer, the hermetic heartbeat of your grow. Petra Tools, your trusted garden companions. SoFem Genetics, sowing seeds of FEMS and Build-A-Soil, building the foundation of your organic oasis. Lost Close Plant Therapy, healing and enhancing plant vitality. Unlock these exclusive deals with coupon code Organically Blunt at checkout. Until our next episode, stay connected and keep growing, and as always, stay organically blunt.